If you've ever found yourself constantly chasing new ideas, starting projects with excitement, only to abandon them halfway through, this one's for you. In this video, I'm diving into one of the most overlooked shadows in the emotional body, immaturity, through the lens of this 53rd challenge. But don't worry, this isn't about shaming you. It's about unlocking expansion and understanding why your restlessness might just be a hidden superpower. I'll start with a parable of the child who never finished. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. Once there was a child named Sale who loved to begin things. He had a garden full of half-dug plots, notebooks full of half-told stories, and closets stuffed with forgotten paints and instruments. His parents praised his creativity, but noticed how quickly his interest would drift. Whenever something felt challenging, uncertain, or required patience, he simply moved on. But one day a village elder offered him a seed. "This one," she said, "will only bloom if you give it everything, your time, your love, and your presence, even when it's not exciting." Sale eagerly planted it. First week, he watered it daily. The second week, he peeked to see if it had grown. The third, he grew bored and returned to his sketchbook. A few days later, he forgot the seed entirely. Months passed. The spot where he had planted it was bare, dry, and neglected. One day, the elder returned. "The seed didn't bloom?" she asked. Sale shrugged. "I guess it wasn't the right one." She smiled. "Every seed is the right one if you're ready." And this is what Sale learned. The beginning is exciting, the middle is uncomfortable, and the end is sacred. This 53rd pattern of change and evolution isn't just about starting something. It's about how we relate to beginnings when we carry an unconscious fear of endings. This challenge lives in the body, in the nervous system, and in our conditioning around performance, permanence, and self-worth. This is not about being immature in a judgmental way. It's about how we were taught to fear the discomfort of growth, and how the fear keeps us stuck in loops of unfinished evolution. This shadow of immaturity is not childish. It's spiritual hesitation. It's the fear of putting your full self into something, because if it fails, you'll be exposed. It's in the inner child who never learned what it means to feel safe in the process of becoming. You might recognize it as constantly jumping from one idea or relationship to another. Deep resistance in finishing what you start. The feeling that once something gets too hard, it's probably not, quote, meant to be. But here's the truth. Completion is the temple. Maturity is the gatekeeper. And the longer we fear endings, the more we resist the grace of arrival. Understanding the repressive and reactive polarities of this. This 53rd challenge expresses its shadow in two primary forms. The repressive nature of being solemn, where you might withdraw, fearing exposure. You stay in routines, afraid of new steps or judgments. You quietly shrink yourself to avoid being seen failing. And then the reactive nature, fickle. You keep starting things with intense energy and never stay long enough to grow through them. You dominate the pace, trying to stay, quote, ahead, so no one catches your fear of stillness. And you may attach your identity to beginnings, but never to integration. The 53rd shadow of immaturity and its fear of endings has its complement, the shadow of greed, and its fear of having less than others. Its repressive nature is unambitious, and its reactive nature is greedy. So you can see how these two shadows dance with each other and encourage each other to remain in control of the psyche. Those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work. Over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7 because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, You can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the Human Design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. These polarities are not flaws. They are defense mechanisms built to shield the parts of you that once didn't feel safe to grow, pause, or complete. The body grows in cycles. Muscles grow in the pause between reps, trees grow in the space between seasons, and one's soul, it ascends by returning to what it once feared, with presence instead of avoidance. This 53rd challenge teaches us that physical evolution without spiritual trust leads to burnout, fragmentation, and endless cycles of, quote, almost. We must begin to ask, what would it mean to trust the entire cycle? Can I let go of the need to, quote, keep beginning and stay long enough to witness my own blossoming and stay long enough to witness my own blooming? Why this shadow exists. This shadow is ancestral, generational. It's encoded into our systems that reward productivity, not process, praise fast starts, but punish delayed timelines, fear death, endings, and completion. Why? Because completion requires surrender. It asks us to trust that we've done enough, that we are enough. This shadow exists because humanity has feared the void that follows completion, without realizing that the void is where grace lives. So what's really waiting at the end of this cycle? It's not judgment, not shame, not loss, but grace, the grace of superabundance, the soft exhale after the sacred inhale, the moment where your soul says, thank you, you stayed, you became. This 53rd challenge asks us not to force ourselves into expansion, but to allow our expansion to arrive through presence, through love, through courage, to stay until the cycle is complete. Because when you stay long enough to witness your own evolution, you stop fearing endings and you start becoming eternal. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. Down below, there's more about this shadow process in the description, along with contact information to schedule a free consultation with me if you feel a pulling towards that. The other link is to my website, where you learn more about me, what I do, how I do it, and why. I also host 3 supportive meetup groups. The first one is Divination Systems, where we navigate all of these shadows and find a means to transmute them, obtain the gifts that are deserving of the work, the grace to be embodied, and appreciate the cycle of self-mastery during the processes of alchemizing these evolutionary challenges. The next is Emotional Intelligence and Mastery, where you learn how to process your emotions effectively, from the beginning that you feel them, to listening what they have to say and ask you, to then deciding what action or non-action feels best. And lastly, emotional trauma release, so you can let go of the restlessness and the fear of failure and the fear of endings and the fear of inadequacy. So you can come to terms with the fact that all cycles have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you can appreciate the whole process without trapping any of the energy in the process. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. God bless you on your journey. Namaste, and good life to you all.